Siomra beag.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Sure Look, Sure Listen, the podcast that takes a pop at culture. Sure Look, Sure Listen.
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 Jesus Christ, Benjamin, it is Easter Sunday here in the Siomra beag in the tiny room, and I tell you what, all's quiet as it is usually so on Easter Sunday on the Western Front. But sure look it. Benjamin, look, let's just be honest with the listeners. We have to do this again, and that was it was much funnier the first time I said it, but the listeners have missed out now. Benjamin, sure look it. We've had a look at Moon Knight episode 3.
Yeah.
And you've watched a film which I've never heard of or seen.
Very good. Sure, listen, Michael, if that wasn't good enough, and it really isn't when you think about a weekly podcast on pop culture, we're going to be taking a deep dive into old JC, Michael, or rather his mirror reflections here on this mortal little ball that we call Earth. We're looking at Christ figures in popular culture.
Very good, Benjamin. Benjamin!
Yeah.
If we have any religious listeners and we haven't already lost them, we're almost certainly going to lose them before the end of this episode.
Michael, I'm fairly certain if you're in any way a religious person, you shouldn't be listening to this podcast anyway.
Yes, you probably shouldn't because it's very sacrilegious. Benjamin!
Yeah.
Speaking of religious worship, we've seen episode 3 of Marvel's Moon Knight.
I tell you what, Michael, my religious worship for that show has just taken a sharp nosedive. I'm having what we would call a religious crisis.
Oh, that's very good. You're having a crisis of faith, Benjamin. I'll tell you before I tell you anything else, of all of the episodes of Moon Knight, including episodes 1 and 2...
Yeah, very good.
This is the only one that I haven't immediately watched twice.
Yeah, Michael, I felt this was a very weak episode, if I'm being honest with you.
Oh, go on.
I thought the writing was very poor. I thought some of the acting choices were shockingly bad. And it all felt a little bit rushed to me, Michael.
Benjamin, I very much agree with you that it felt a bit rushed. You were saying earlier when we were talking off the air, Benjamin, that it feels almost like there's a missing episode.
Yes, I did. I mentioned I felt so much was the cramming of this particular episode, and so disjointed was the tone throughout, Michael. I thought we might have been getting little snippets from another episode that we might not get to see anymore.
It did have a feel, didn't it, of a real show that was hit by COVID.
Yeah, it did have a fuck.
Oh, this has been ruined by COVID.
One of the actors has a COVID. We're going to have to shut down production. We don't have time to shut down production. The budget is already huge. We're in bloody Egypt.
Yeah.
This is awful.
Yeah.
They weren't in Egypt, Michael. They were obviously on a set somewhere.
Oscar Isaac is here.
Oscar Isaac is here. He's a known anti-COVIDist.
He's a very small little fella, but he's got a huge appetite and we have to keep feeding him kofta.
It's a real shame that he's gotten such a taste for this kofta. It's so bloody expensive. That was a weird segue from us there, ladies and gentlemen.
So expensive, but look at the size of him. He's only a small little fella. Benjamin.
Go on.
I think the fault in this thing was the writing. This was a very oddly written episode.
Yeah. You mentioned, Michael, a little bit earlier when we were off air.
Yeah, because we weren't recording properly.
That you felt that the Layla scene was a little bit odd at the beginning, the cold open.
Dreadful, Ben. One of the worst scenes I've seen in television history. Just two people discussing one character's backstory.
It's a little bit lazy, isn't it, Michael?
Oh, it was absolutely appalling. Hey, Layla, I know that you've known me your whole life, but you haven't been the same ever since your father died mysteriously in that accident. And you never knew your mother, so that's why you're the tough, no-nonsense chick that you are today. And then Layla going, yes, that is entirely correct, but I steal for the good of the countries, not for me, but sometimes a little profit because I'm a scallion as well.
Oh, look at me.
Hell.
A wee hellraiser, as they say.
Jesus Christ, Benjamin. One of the worst... to keep in theme with this week's episode, Jesus Christ, Benjamin. One of the worst ever two characters explaining each other's backstory to each other I've ever seen on television.
Very on the nose, Michael. Very, very bad. Just ramming exposition down the throats.
Two characters saying exposition to each other. Absolutely shocking.
Don't let any of your past catch up to you while you're in Cairo, Layla.
Yeah, because you're going to Cairo to find Mark Spector, who you used to be married to. and now you're going there, like some of your other adventures. Oh, God, Jesus Christ,
But-
we know.
By the way, not explained how she knows Mark Spector fucked off to Egypt.
No.
Not explained how she knows exactly what he's looking for when she catches up to him in a market. She's like, "Oh, you're looking for Sefu's sarcophagus. I get you." And it's like, "What?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here."
Who? What's going on? Benjamin, very odd. Very, very odd. And, I mean, the whole scene with the art dealer fellow.
Gaspar, who's now passed away, sadly.
Unfortunately, yeah.
He passed away in a skiing accident. Yeah,
very dangerous. Stay away from it.
Don't be skiing, ladies and gentlemen. Don't be skiing. But he's very weak, as he's not. He is not a charismatic presence on screen. He's good in an El Perfume ad.
What was the point of that whole scene, Ben?
There wasn't one. It was very strange. I think it was to show off Egypt and Egyptian culture, maybe.
Yeah. And
I understand that.
Show a bit of Stephen and Mark working together.
Well, now here's the real kicker for me, Michael. Is Stephen and Mark working together? Stephen Grant is all of a sudden gone from being a lowly parasite sharing the body to an essential piece of this thing, based on Layla's 3 or 4 interactions with him briefly.
Yeah, but she fancies him now, Ben, because
fancies him now because he's got books and stuff.
He's got books and stuff, which is the same method you use.
It is actually. It works quite well.
Yeah, you call it the Stephen Grant method. Benjamin.
Yeah.
There were some acting highlights, though.
Go on, tell me a little bit more there, Michael.
I'll tell you a little bit about the acting highlights, Ben. My favourite acting highlight was when little tiny fella Oscar Isaac, when he was possessed by Khonshu.
Yeah.
And Khonshu was shouting out of his mouth.
Yes, it was very good, Michael. Very jarring at points. I was like, oh.
Yeah, that was my favourite bit. That was a good bit. What are you doing?
Wasn't it? I'm looking up Oscar Isaac's height because I'm very curious as to why you're calling him a tiny little fella.
He's only a tiny little fella. Benjamin.
Go on.
The whole trial of Khonshu scene where they brought in Arthur Harrow and all the other gods. It was straight out of like a cheap Supernatural clone.
Power Rangers or something like. There's an Irishman possessed by a.
There was an Irishman, Ben. He was from Donegal.
He was clearly from Donegal.
He's from Donegal. No, he is actually from Donegal. I'm loving it. I'm loving how many Irish people are in this. We've had an Irishman an episode.
So that's DC Billy. I can't remember his very Irish second name, but he was there as well. Give it a little woohoo.
Yeah.
Oh man, what a strange scene that was, Michael. It was straight out of Power Rangers meets Supernatural. Power Rangers set dressing meets Supernatural classic kind of, it's a human form god kind of thing.
Because that's cheaper.
Because that's much cheaper. Michael, what a load of bollocks. Like, they have to be the most negligent gods in the world in terms of keeping an eye on what's happening. Ladies and gentlemen, Arthur Harrow, former avatar of Khonshu, is now trying to free Ammit, which we've all sworn never to do. Surely that bears some kind of investigate. Hang on, are you saying you're mentally ill? Oh, well, we can't trust you. Oh, Khonshu, you little bollocks.
Yeah,
let's go strange.
Let's go and ask Arthur. Arthur, are you trying to find Ammit? Oh, no. Oh, grand then. Grand. Okay, on your way.
Not only that, Michael, but he answers the questions in the cheekiest little I'm a bollocks way ever. He's like, oh, I didn't know walking on the sands was a crime.
No, it wasn't me, Your Honour.
Meanwhile, like, the Egyptian gods, who will not give Khonshu a word in edgewise, are like, oh, he's fine. He's grand.
He's fine.
Nothing suspicious about that at all.
If being sexy is a crime, Your Honour, then find me guilty.
Yeah, there's no way a disciple of Ammit with a large tattoo on his forearm decrying as much would possibly try and actually find Ammit. That would be strange.
And we found him in the desert near the tomb. Ridiculous, Benjamin.
Ridiculous.
The whole episode is full of things like that, Benjamin. Khonshu's plan at the end was the most ridiculous thing I have ever seen in my adult life.
Turn back the sky.
He turned back. Ben, there's an app for that.
Yeah, probably.
There's an app. No, not probably. It's called Stellaris. I have it on my phone.
Okay, it's a real thing.
There's an app. You can just go on the internet anywhere in the world and find out exactly what the sky looked like on any night you can possibly imagine, Benjamin. It is well documented.
Oh, wow. That's very interesting. Come here to me, Michael. It seems like it answers a very strong question, though, which is who's stronger, Asgardian gods or Egyptian gods? Fucking Egyptian gods.
Apparently.
They can control fucking time and space.
Entirely, in its entirety.
Yeah. They also mentioned the Other Void. The Other Void is a concept that was brought to us by Jeff Lemire. Noted
good old
Ben
Jeff.
impersonator Jeff Lemire. And when he did his run Welcome to New Egypt, the Other Void is where Egyptian gods are kind of exist without avatars. So that's why they need avatars. And they've largely left the affairs of man. But it's a classic lazy god thing, isn't it? It's like, we chose not to meddle in the affairs of men. It's like, okay.
All right.
Seems weird.
Sounds like a pretty good excuse to me.
And then the other one was like, and we have avatars to observe just the same. It's like, surely you could just leave. Like, if you weren't interested, just leave.
We have avatars to observe, such as this fellow from Donegal.
Yes, he met us in Donegal when we were on holiday in Ireland in the pub.
Letter Kenny, very nice.
Very nice.
Not many services, quite small.
Limited public transport options, difficult to reach.
One comic book shop, quite nice though.
Is there a nice comic book shop in Letterkenny?
There's a nice comic book shop in Donegal, yes. I
Do you
think they've rebranded.
Oh,
I can't remember. I think they're called Endgame Comics now.
Would you like to? Would we take a little wander up to it? We start doing little travel vlogs to comic book shops all over Ireland.
Let's do a travel vlog. All right, Benjamin.
Yes.
There were some highlights, though. The highlight for me was, other than Mark Spector shouting because Conchu was possessing him, was the dissociative disentity order.
Yeah, Michael.
Scene.
Those were excellent. Those were back on form. I would like to see more of those. It's fun. So it's funny. The disjointed writing that isn't intentional is quite bothersome, but when it's fully intentional, you're like, oh, the antics. Look at him. Look at him.
What's going on? Who's doing all these murders?
So Mark Spector versus 3 Egyptian thugs is just a great little opening plot, Michael. That should have been the cold open. There's your bloody cold open. But come here to me. One of the things that I found so interesting there is we get a little taste of a third personality, Michael.
Some sort of real murderous sociopath.
Yeah, so I think that's probably our first hint at Jake Loxley.
Who's that, Benjamin? Tell me and the listeners, even though I know.
You know very well, Michael. Jake Loxley is one of the 3 dissociated identities of Mark Spector, and he was kind of the grim and gritty, ear to the ground, get the information from New York City, because he's a cabbie in New York.
A taxi.
And he's driving around, and people spill their secrets to a cabbie. Ha ha! My cabbie sounds like Stan Lee. A little bit. So that's for whatever reason. But Jake Loxley is the third personality that would kind of do the street beat, Michael, because Stephen Grant traditionally is a big old playboy philanthropist. And Mark Spector is a big assassin-y mercenary boy.
But Benjamin, we've seen from the first 2 episodes of this, episode 1, 2 and now episode 3, that Marvel, Disney are very happy to ditch established Moon Knight lore. Yeah,
so the suit being, Mr. Knight's suit being the first thing. One of my Mr. Knight's costume being the first thing, and Stephen Grant being a gift shoppist being another thing.
Yeah.
So perhaps Jake Loxley is just an utter psychopath.
Exactly, Benjamin. And other things like the suit itself being mystical, or Moon Knight himself definitely having powers. As we see in this episode, Benjamin, Moon Knight absolutely 100% definitely has very supernatural powers.
Conchu says, my healing suit. Without my healing suit, you wouldn't get very far. What a load of bollocks.
He got stabbed a load of times with big spears.
That one of the most enjoyable micro moments for that was me, where Stephen was like, give me a chance. All right, Mark, take it back. Take it back.
I've been stabbed with loads of big spears.
That was very good. I enjoyed that. But come here to me, Michael. That whole scene where he's being stabbed through with spears, very fucking silly. Because he gets stuck in place, then defies physics by doing a little twisty twist.
Breaks all the sticks.
Yeah, to save Layla. Layla, who doesn't need much saving, by the way. I want to know more about the weird Egyptian-style necklace thing that she was wearing as a weapon. Where's that? Give me more of that.
It's good for stabbing that fella.
Good for stabbing that fella who she was on very good terms with not 15 minutes earlier.
That whole scene was weird.
Yeah.
That whole scene was bonkers weird. I don't know if we've talked about it now or when we were recording earlier, Ben, but the whole scene was very disjointed and odd. Yeah,
so the entire concept of Sifu's sarcophagus as a MacGuffin was irritating to me. More than that, the fact that man whose name escapes me, I'm sorry, I can't remember who Gaspar such and such plays. What's his name, or who's he supposed to be?
Midnight Man is the character name in the comics, but I can't remember the character name.
So we don't get much of a hint of Midnight Man at all, Michael.
No.
From that
Maybe
character.
Benjamin. Maybe the plan was for him to come back.
I think that probably was the plan, which unfortunately now won't happen. I think we get a hint because Moon Knight chucks an L moon at him, and you hear him go as he rides off into the distance. So maybe he finds Arthur Harrow. Arthur Harrow gives him another little taste of Egyptian something. And Arthur Harrow's taste of power was the greatest load of shite as well. Like, he's like, I burned the sarcophagus, but I didn't actually. Everything's fine inside the sarcophagus.
I've mildly inconvenienced the heroes.
Yeah, I got him.
I've mildly I've inconvenienced them less than them not knowing about the App Stellaris.
Also, one of the things that I really don't like is that he's always there. Arthur Harrow can just go wherever he wants.
He's teleporting about the place with his magic stick.
Yeah, look, they're constantly being followed. You think they'd be a little bit more wary at this point. And it's like, this man has tremendous reach and power. We should probably be careful.
He's here again.
Yeah, they should really just build that into the thing when they meet people. Like, by the way, there's going to be a lad in a yoga suit. He's going to rock up.
Yeah.
He's going to have a cane. He's going to say things that don't make a lot of sense. You're going to feel your will bend a little bit. Don't.
Yeah. He's going to tell you about Reiki energies.
Yeah, he's going to try and realign your chakras. And if he gets it wrong, you die.
Yeah, I'll realign your chakras is what you should say back to him. Benjamin!
Yeah.
That's enough of Moon Knight episode 3. I feel I'm bloody sick of talking about it.
Okay, go on then. On you go.
Hopefully Moon Knight episode 4 is a bit better. Even the fight scenes, Ben. Even the fight scenes, which were good, weren't that great.
They were straight out of Hawkeye final episode on the ice rink. Same thing,
Everybody
same energy.
doing a big flip, yeah.
Same energy, same weird cuts. There's a weird... Did you see the scene where his cape gets pulled?
No, I don't remember that.
And they break the flow of the fight completely. He gets pulled back with the cape a little bit, and then he does kind of a really slow turn to grapple the guy who's pulled his cape, and you're just like, that's not supposed to be in. That was a practice choreography move, and you've stuck it in the fucking show.
Oh, I'll have a look.
It's really... You, of all people, will get a real kick out of it. Look, watch for the cape pull. It's weird.
I'm always dragging people around by their capes.
Yeah, that's why you don't wear them. Edna mode. No capes. There's a whole thing. Come here to me, Michael. From one...
Benjamin.
Yeah, go on.
Maybe episode 4 will be Moon Knight's redemption.
Yeah, Michael, that'd be good, wouldn't it? He's a bit of a rogue now and probably needs a bit of redeeming. But that leads us on to our next topic in a buttery smooth Kerrygold segue, Michael, to Redemption of a Rogue. I watched a film, Michael.
Oh, yeah.
Not but last eve.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, and it's oddly timely for this week's theme of Christ figures. So, Redemption of a Rogue is a 2020 film that came. 2020 film that's Irish. It's made by Fee Sharon and Cavan County Council. I'm not
Cavan County Council.
I'm not even kidding. Huge involvement from Cavan County Council in making this film.
I thought they were just doing lakes.
Yeah, really weird.
Cavan County Council. I thought their main job was filling lakes up with water.
I think it is a lot of the time, but occasionally they stop to make films, nourish the artistic soul, so to speak.
Go on.
So, Michael, I went and I watched this film, and I didn't know what to expect. I watched the trailer, and the trailer pitches it as a black comedy, right?
All right.
So I went, I don't know what this is. This is weird. Michael, nothing could have prepared me for the film that I watched, right?
Go on.
So, the film centres around a man called Jimmy Cullen.
Okay, classic Irish name.
And Jimmy Cullen wants to die.
All right, classic Irish issue.
He would like to hang himself.
Oh, yeah, classic Irish issue, yeah.
But before he hangs himself, he decides to go back to his little town in Cavan. And make amends.
Yes.
Right? So he attempts to do this. Right?
Go on.
And in the process, he meets his father, who is a big old bastard.
Ben, you're just describing the program Peacemaker.
I'm describing the program Peacemaker, but this came out in 2020.
Oh, that's before Peacemaker.
It's before Peacemaker. So anyway, he goes, and his dad's a bit of a bastard, and his light spoilers for the start of the film, his dad dies.
All right, okay. That's not like the film Peacemaker.
When his father dies, it kicks off a plague of rain in the town of Cavan. Okay?
Ben.
Yeah.
In Cavan, they just call that summer.
They just call that summer, Michael. So that's what we get, right? And then, Michael, religious allegory kind of takes over. Okay, so we get a lot of kind of traditional Catholic imagery, and there are certain scenes that are taken from the Bible and adapted with weird Irish humour. And it's phenomenal. It's this bizarre, absurdist film. It really boggles your brain to watch because you're like, this is very Irish. And it's not Irish in the way that we see with some films where it's like, hey, people from Ireland will know this. Hey, look at us, we're Irish.
All right,
it's not like, it's not like, oh, I'd murder for a Guinness, and everybody goes, hey, Guinness.
I'm Irish and I love a Guinness.
Yeah, it's not like that at all. This is a case of like,
give us a packet of potatoes.
Your man going into the deli and being like, do you want spicy or plain, mayo or butter? And
very good.
There's weird moments that only Irish people will be like, look at that.
Oh yeah. Did you leave the bleeding immersion on?
Yeah, and there's a bit of that, but none of it's like, hey, we're all Irish here. It's a much more kind of dark look, I suppose, at rural Ireland, and it's pretty damn interesting. So anyway, this plague kicks off, Michael.
Go on.
And what happens is the children start to go mute in the town.
Sounds good to me.
They don't talk anymore. They won't eat. So it's another little plague and stuff. And what we get, Michael, is Jimmy Cullen, who's not very well loved, because it turns out that Jimmy Cullen, when he was driving when he was younger, and again, light spoilers here, had a little car crash, and his girlfriend at the time got left in a wheelchair.
Oh.
And he did a runner.
Classic Jimmy.
He ran off and led a life of sin elsewhere. It's hinted that it's New York, but it's not really important to the story. So anyway, by the end of it, it turns out that this plague of rain is 40 days and 40 nights, Michael.
Like the Josh Hartnett film.
Like the Josh Hartnett film. Or Lent, as it's
Lent,
commonly known in the
that's-
Catholic tradition.
No, I was thinking of the one where Josh Hartnett can't have sex and he gets raped.
What?
Isn't that what happens in that?
What film is this?
The Josh Hartnett one, 40 Days and 40 Nights.
Oh, goodness. I don't know what's going on there. Oh, that's made me very uncomfortable, Michael.
Yeah. No,
That was a
no
hard
good.
R.
Yeah, no good.
Oh, wow. No good at all. But come here to me.
It's a comedy.
I happened to watch this 40 Days and 40 Nights.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. So anyway, watching this, Michael, is a weird experience because you're watching it going, what the fuck is going on? But at the same time, you're watching it going, this is fucking fantastic. It has the best editing and cinematography I have seen in any film.
Oh.
It's so good. Like
Go
the visuals here, the acting is solid. The acting is incredibly stylized. The dialogue is incredibly stylized, but it works incredibly well because it never breaks within the world of the film. So this tiny little town in Cavan becomes its own little set piece. And you get to watch these characters interact in this bizarre way. And this plague of rain is only affecting the town of Cavan.
All right.
Yeah, so it's a fascinating movie, and we watch this Jimmy Cullen fella try to wrestle with his past and make sense of his present, and it's really good and so funny at the same time. There's moments where you're just like, that's very good. Look at that. It's a bizarre film. It comes from like the mind of Samuel Beckett. If Samuel Beckett had one too many pints on a Saturday and wrote a film on a Sunday morning.
I think he would have.
I think he probably would have. I think that's a very Beckettian thing to do. I couldn't get over it. But anyway, major spoilers now for the end of the film, Michael.
Oh, here we go. Okay.
And what makes this so important for this week's episode is that it turns out that because Jimmy is directly responsible for the death of his father, he has to sacrifice himself, Michael. He only has to go and follow through on his original wish to hang himself.
Oh, no.
But Michael, he's had a ton of character growth over the 40 days and 40 nights, and now he doesn't want to go.
Oh, no.
Michael, what a film. What a Christ-like figure is cut by one Jimmy Cullen. And Michael, if you'll notice, write those initials out for me there.
JC, just like JC Chavez from the band, I don't know which one it is, NSYNC.
No, Michael. No, Michael. It's a reference to noted worshipped figure John Cena.
John Cena.
Dun, 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 dun.
Exactly, that's who it is.
No, it's obviously Christ, Michael. Now, this wears its religious kind of nods on its sleeve, again, in a heavily stylized way, Michael. But what makes it so unique, I think, is that it's Irish Catholicism at its heart. So it's the kind of iconography that you would see in your grandparents' house. There's a lot of stuff with like the Child of Prague, and there's a whole bit to do with its head coming off. And then my mum, who was watching it from afar, kept poking her head in and was like, you can never keep the head on a Child of Prague.
Apparently that's a thing, Ben.
Apparently that's a thing.
Apparently that's the thing. That's the thing.
No idea.
Apparently that's the point of them or something. I don't know if it's good luck or bad luck or
I had
Satan.
no
I don't know.
idea. But they try everything. And Michael, to say that this film, there's a whole afterlife sequence, like a journey across the River Styx kind of vibe, but in an Irish theme. Fucking phenomenal film, Michael.
Very good.
I couldn't get over it as a film. Now, it's odd, it's weird, but it's so good at the same time. It's on Netflix. It's only just dropped there. Redemption of a Rogue. And I was honestly so pleasantly taken aback and surprised by this film. I can't believe it hasn't gotten more recognition.
Benjamin, I will give it a watch, and the listeners will give it a watch, and we'll all come back at you if it's no use.
Yeah, absolutely do. No, come at me. It's absolutely fine. But I honestly, it's honestly a film that it's one of those great moments where you sit down and you watch something with no expectation, and then you come away from it going, Jesus, that was very fucking good.
Very good.
Very good. So give it a watch, Michael, and tell me what you think. I thought it was phenomenal. I think, very often when we get an Irish film, Michael, it's no use. It's not that it's no use, right? But it leans too heavily into we all know what it's like to be Irish, huh? Yeah, we all know.
Yeah. Package of tato,
and it's fine and it's grand, but it's a little on the nose. This is something that does it in such a different way. It's reminiscent of In Bruges, but arguably even better.
But in Cavan.
In Cavan, yeah.
Benjamin.
So I was all for it, yeah.
Of course, Benjamin. As you were saying there, this one wears its religious allegories on its sleeve.
Very good.
But Benjamin, not all films do, despite what underlying secrets they might contain.
Winky, winky, nudgy, nudgy, look at us, segueing.
We've segued beautifully there, Benjamin. Why don't you tell the listeners, Ben, what we mean exactly by a Christ figure?
Do you feel our segues are often ruined by the fact that we openly call out our segues?
Yes, almost everything we do. Anytime we do anything remotely clever or interesting, we ruin it by patting ourselves on the back.
At this point, I think we should probably get checked for hairline fractures along the old scapula. No, not scapula. What's that one in the back?
Because of patting ourselves on the back so
hard.
Yeah, I get it. That was not a bad joke, Benjamin.
We've pointed it out now, so just add it to the pile.
As per usual. Benjamin!
Yeah.
Tell the listeners what you mean by a Christ figure.
So, Michael, throughout fiction, we get Christ figures. And what they are is they're usually characters, usually male. Not always, but usually male.
Not always, but usually.
Who parallel the story of Christ.
Benjamin, what is the story of Christ?
So there's this lad, right?
Yeah.
And let me set the scene first, right?
Oh, here we go.
The earth is in fucking shambles.
Right.
It's a bit shit down here.
Yeah.
Okay. So the big man upstairs.
Yeah.
Played by Morgan
Brendan
Freeman.
Gleeson.
Yeah, or Brendan Gleeson. I'll take either.
Yeah, all right.
He goes, right, I'm going to sort this out. How will I best sort this out? I'll send a white man to Earth. And so he chucks down his son, right?
Yeah.
And he
who's
tells
also
his son,
himself, Ben.
Who's also himself.
Yes, don't forget that. That's very important.
Self-congratulatory, masturbatory way. Yes, it's also himself. And he chucks him down, Michael, and he says, come here to me, listen to me, right?
Yeah.
And Jesus goes, why is it that? And he goes, you're going to save them, yeah?
Yeah.
And Jesus goes, all right, Dad, I can do that. Yeah, no bother. And he goes, how am I going to do that, Dad? And he goes, right, you know when you feel like being a little bollocks? And Jesus goes, yeah, Dad. He goes, don't do that.
Don't do that, yeah.
And he goes, you know when you see other people being little bollockses?
Yeah.
And Jesus goes, yeah, Dad, yeah. He goes, yeah, tell them not to do that.
Okay, I will, yeah, I'll tell them not to do that.
And Jesus goes, yeah, that's no bother, Dad, I'll do that, yeah. So anyway, Jesus goes about the place being a little fucking snitch. And giving out to people and saying, here, give over.
Give that over.
Give
now,
that
please.
over there, will you? Will
All
you?
right, folks, let's finish that up there, please.
Fuck's sake, me. Fuck's sake, me. Give that over, right? And that goes fine. That's going pretty well. He's getting a few Insta followers here and there.
Oh, bloody hell.
And
Is he on Insta? Okay.
yeah, loads of people are like, "Oh, this Jesus young fella's all right. He's a bit obnoxious, but he's all right. Yeah, he's doing the right thing." So
He's a bit much sometimes.
then what happens, Michael? There's a few incidents, and then what happens is we get a big old gap. Jesus deletes his Instagram, and he backs off a bit, right?
He says taking some time off socials for my mental health.
He's taking some time off socials. Thanks for the good wishes, son. If you want to get in touch with me, you can look at my backup account. It's over here. And so he takes a little time off, and we get a big old gap from the ages of 15 to 30. And assumedly he goes hell for leather there, Michael. And then his dad goes, "Do you not think you're taking the piss there, son?" And he goes, "All right, Dad, go back and I'll do the other thing." So he heads back, and then he really starts in on him. And he's like, "Oh, look, I'm older and wiser now, boys. And I know I said don't be doing that earlier, but you really shouldn't be doing that now. Do you know what I mean?"
Nah, I wasn't messing.
I wasn't messing. So anyway, then God decides to give him a real fucking hard time.
Yeah.
So one of the things he has to do is he has to go into the El Desert for 40 days and 40 nights.
Oh, like Josh Hartnett.
Yeah, like Josh Hartnett in that film where there's a hard R for some reason. And he sets him out in the desert, and Jesus is like, what's this supposed to achieve, Dad? And he goes, it's just to show that you're tough. And Jesus goes, "Yeah, that seems a bit arbitrary though, because I've got a big following, and they're all on board." And he's like, "Yeah, but this will really show them." And Jesus is like, "All right, it's a bit fucking weird, Dad, but yeah, okay." So he heads off into the desert, and then he meets this little bollocks called Lucifer.
Yeah.
And Lucifer's
From
like,
the
"Here,
television show.
come here to me, Jesus. You're not shit, yeah? You're not shit, right?" And Jesus is like, "I'm actually fairly sound. Loads of people think so." And Lucifer's like, "Nah, come here to me, right? What I'll do is I'll set you up, man. I'll set you up, and you'll have the best fucking life. All you have to do is say fuck your dad." And Jesus goes, "Oh, I don't know if my dad be all right. That doesn't sound good to me. That doesn't sound good to me." And he keeps doing that. Basically, it's a back and forth between those two, with Lucifer going, "Go on," and Jesus going, "No, you're all right." And then after 40 days, God is like, "Oh, well done, you've done it. Good man yourself." And Jesus is like, "Cheers, Dad. Yeah, sound." And it's a very Irish relationship where the dad's like, "Good man," and Jesus is like, "Yeah, Grant." And it's very awkward. And then God springs the big one on him, and he's like, "Oh, by the way,
Yes.
you're doing great work,
Yes.
but actually you have to die."
Oh, great.
And Jesus goes, "Sorry, what? Come again, pal?" And he goes, "Yeah, you're going to have to die, yeah?" And Jesus goes, "Oh, no, I'm going to go have dinner with me mates to say goodbye." So they all head down to Nando's, and they sit around the table.
Fuck.
They all head down to Nando's,
go
and they
on.
sit around the table. And then this little rat called Judas comes up to him, right? And he gives him an old fucking peck on the cheek. And Jesus goes, "Oh, you little fucking bastard. You snake, Judas." And then he gets carted out, and he has to carry a big wooden plank along the building sites up to the top of the scaffolding. And then they stick him on a cross, right?
Yeah.
So he drinks a bit too much. He goes up in the cross. And then that's the end of it, really. And they cart him off to his little studio flat for $1,600 a month, because that's the times we live in. And they chuck him inside. And then 3 days later, he comes out and he goes, "Oh, fucking hell, lads.
Oh, that was a rough one.
Me, that was a rough one. Right, I'm back. Right, I'm sorting it out. And God says, "Oh, no, you don't need to be back. When you died there, that actually saved everybody." And Jesus goes,
grand.
"You're some fucking prick, that." And now they don't talk.
Right.
Which is all. Because it was a bit of a fucking ordeal.
What does his mate Tomo think?
And Tomo was like, "Would you give over? You're some waffler. I knew Jesus. You're not fucking Jesus."
That's exactly what Tomo said. Benjamin. Yeah. I just had a phone call there. It was the papacy.
Yeah.
They're sending an albino Paul Bethany to get you.
Oh, excellent.
They weren't best pleased with that.
That's actually my pitch for RTE.
An albino Paul Bethany coming after you.
No, that entire it's going to be called, instead of Love Hate, it's going to be called Forgive and Forget.
Oh, very good.
And
it'll be
it's all about a young fella called JC going around Dublin.
JC going through Dublin. Very good. Benjamin.
Yeah.
Now that you've fully alienated any of the listeners who had even the slightest interest, sometimes people take the story of Jesus and his dying and coming back to save humankind, and they subtly or unsubtly stick it into their other stories.
Yeah, they do that sometimes.
Sometimes, Benjamin.
Yes,
Let's
they
start
do.
with the most famous one.
Yeah, the most famous one being top of the list there, Michael, Aslan.
Aslan, the band Aslan, also from Dublin.
Yeah, that's who it is. It's Christie. It's Jimmy Christie. That's the name of my character in the RTE pitch. But anyway, come here to me. Aslan, bloody Lion the Witch in the Wardrobe, bloody C.S. Lewis from Northern Ireland of all places, Michael.
C.S. Lewis was from Northern Ireland, was he?
Yeah, there you go. Didn't know that until
An
I went
absolute-
up to Balferrisha and saw that there's an entire district of East Belfast named C.S. Lewis Square, and it's all
Very good.
C.S. Lewis themed.
Benjamin, an absolute religious nutbag from Northern Ireland. Who would have ever thought? I tell you what, though.
Funnily enough, Michael, that is the thing that will get us cancelled. Like, my entire blasphemous fucking shenanigans there. Grant,
That'll be fine, will it?
you've just
But what
had
I-
a go. You've just made it so much worse.
What I said, yeah, because there's never been such a thing as an absolute religious nutbag from Northern Ireland.
No, it
Hold on,
doesn't
I think we have Ian Paisley Jr. on the line. He's sending the ghost of his dad after me. Benjamin,
Yeah.
Benjamin, be quiet for a second.
Go on.
C.S. Lewis, Benjamin, he did The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe,
Yes.
but he was a notorious cataholic.
Yes. Cataholic. Mad for cats.
Absolutely addicted to cats. And he was not subtle with his Christ figures, was he, Ben?
No, he was not, Michael. Aslan has the literal crucifixion of Christ kind of take part in his own life, where the witch of
Yes.
The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe gets to give an elf sacrifice on a stone plinth. But she
Yes.
doesn't understand the old magics, and Liam Neeson then comes back and he's like, I actually have all the power.
I'm back. It was me the whole time, Benjamin. But The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe is the most famous Aslan as Jesus parallel.
Yeah.
But Benjamin, it's constant. Have you read the rest of the books, Benjamin?
No, I haven't, Michael.
Now, I'm going back many years since I read these books, but you'll correct me if I'm wrong, Benjamin.
I won't.
In
because
the
I haven't read
last
them.
one,
Yeah.
in the last one, everyone dies.
Maybe.
And no, for sure. And Aslan welcomes them into the new Narnia,
Oh,
because the world ends, and he welcomes them into the new Narnia, which is his creation, and only through him can you enter this new heavenly Narnia.
so you have to go through Aslan.
Yeah, not literally through him. You don't
Oh,
have to
okay.
go in through his mouth and out through his bottom.
I thought it was a weird vor thing for a second. Fair enough.
That would be an interesting tunnel, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Just climb in through that lion's mouth there. You'll pop out in his bum in heaven.
And
Benjamin,
then it turns out that the lion has just been waiting to eat everybody, and it's finally tricked them all into going down easy.
he's got them, Benjamin. C.S. Lewis, though, Benjamin, was a devoted cataholic. And
Yeah.
to the point of, have you read his thoughts on Aslan, Benjamin?
I haven't, Michael. You have me at a pure disadvantage here, unfortunately.
I'll tell you about his thoughts of Aslan then. Aslan, Benjamin, this is C.S. Lewis's own words, Glenn.
Go on.
Aslan is not an allegory of Christ.
Okay.
Aslan is Christ.
Oh, God.
Exactly. Yes. Well, the son of
Oh,
and
okay.
also God at the same time. Aslan is Christ in an imaginary world.
Right.
So Jesus is Christ in our world. This is according to C.S. Lewis, the noted religious lunatic from Northern Ireland. He in our world, in the real world, Benjamin.
Yeah.
And we won't get into that. But in the real world, Christ manifested as Jesus. But Christ's manifestation in the imaginary world of Narnia is Aslan.
Oh, God.
So, no, Jesus or Christ, whatever. I don't know, Ben. I don't know what term to use. So Aslan is Jesus. He's not an allegory of Jesus, Ben. He is Jesus.
Right.
So maybe he's not the right one for the topic then, because it's, as far as C.S. Lewis is concerned, it's like a factual retelling of how God would manifest in
Yeah.
this imaginary world.
I do feel that we should point out that you keep calling him a Catholic. He's not. He's a Protestant.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's a Protestant.
He's
Church
mad
of
about
Ireland.
Jesus.
So
Was he?
Yeah, he was Church of Ireland initially.
Right.
Then he had a little moment where he left the church, Michael.
Go on.
And there were lots of reasons he did that. He became an atheist at age 15. And then later on, he described himself. So these are his exact words. He was very angry with God for not existing, and equally angry with him for creating a world. That doesn't make any sense. So we knew he was a nut job back then. So yeah, he then came back and he died an Anglican.
Oh yeah. He died of Anglicanism.
He died of Anglicanism. It got into his bones, and that was the end of him.
Oh, very good, Benjamin.
But yeah, I mean, I suppose, Michael, one of the key things from C.S. Lewis is the inspiration he had on other writers, because he was a very good pal.
Yes.
Of one J.R. Tolkien.
J.R. Tolkien, I believe his name is.
J.R. Tolkien.
They were in Oxford together, Ben. They were always having a pint.
They were always having a pint and a pray.
And talk about Jesus.
And talking about Jesus. And it was a whole thing, Michael. It was a whole thing that they had together. But, Michael, he was very influential on LJR, because we got a lot of Christ figures in the old Lord of the Rings.
Well, Ben, J.R. Tolkien was a notorious cataholic, absolutely addicted to cats.
Yeah, loved him.
Just picking them up and sniffing them, going, "Oh, you little fluffy little belly."
That's the good stuff.
He wasn't, Benjamin. He was smoking a pipe and thinking about God. Benjamin.
Yeah, and then being grumpy. Yeah, go on.
Who is the best? The thing about the difference is in the C.S. Lewis's and the J.R.R. Tolkien's, though, is that J.R.R. Tolkien was a bit of a Johnny Tightlips.
What is a Johnny Tightlips?
So C.S. Lewis was like, people would say, "C.S. Lewis, have you written a new book?" And he's like, "Yes, I've written a new book. It's about Jesus, but he's a lion."
Jesus, but he's a lion. Yes.
But he's a lion, like in the Bible, where he's referred to as the Lion of Judea. But Benjamin, J.R. Tolkien, if they said, "Hey, J.R. Tolkien, is this about Jesus?" And he'd be like, "I ain't saying nothing.
I ain't saying nothing.
I ain't saying nothing. I'm a New York gangster."
Yeah, I'm a New York gangster. I ain't saying nothing. My name is J.R.
The most obvious Christ figure in J.R.R. Tolkien is Gandalf, Ben.
Yeah, because he has a little resurrection, Michael.
He does a resurrection, Ben.
Yeah.
He sacrifices himself, not for the whole of humanity like Jesus Christ, your Lord and Saviour.
No, he just does it for the bants. Yeah.
He does it for the fellowship, Ben.
No, he does it for the bants.
Oh, is it for the bants?
Yeah, he does it for a bit of a power boost, little stat boost.
Well, that's why Jesus did it too, wasn't it?
Yeah, big old stat boost. Yeah, that's exactly what happened in the Bible. Our Father who art in stat boosts, hallowed be thy roll.
Benjamin.
Yes.
Have you read the works of J.R.R. Tolkien?
I have read The Hobbit and nothing more.
You've not read The Lord of the Rings or The Silmarillion?
I have never attempted The Silmarillion. It seems very scary.
Benjamin.
Yes.
In The Silmarillion, I'm gonna stick with your incorrect pronunciation. In The Silmarillion.
Yes.
There's a god. There's one true god in the world of J.R.R. Tolkien.
Yes.
Eru Iluvatar, Ben.
Yes.
And he's like, I'm going to do a big song and I'm going to create creation.
Old AA and his pipes. Yes.
So the first thing he does, Ben, is he creates a kind of pantheon.
Oh, very good. You need an El Pantheon for mythology.
He creates exactly, Ben. He creates a pantheon of aspects of himself.
Oh, that's very godlike, isn't it?
Isn't it?
Yeah.
And one of them, Ben, is a bit of a contrarian prick.
Okay. Who's the contrarian, Michael?
No, Ben.
Go on.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were saying I was a contrarian.
No. Well, you are.
Contrarian is
no, not this time.
No, I'm not. Benjamin, the contrarian is Morgoth, and he's like, fuck this plan. I'm going to do my own plan. I'm going to do my own creation.
Is that the fellow with a raging case of pink eye?
Why?
Because of the big fiery ring, or is it not him?
No, that's Sauron.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Morgoth was Sauron's boss.
Oh, was he?
Yeah. Melkor.
How very similar to our own lives, Michael.
Exactly, Benjamin. So, in it, right? So, Morgoth is like, well, I'm going to sing my own creation. And everyone else is like, no, would you just Do the creation that all the rest of us are doing. So,
Why do you
in
always
the
have
world
to be different, Morgoth?
Well, stop trying to be different, Morgoth, you absolute prick. Are you making more rings over there? He's like, no.
No.
That's nothing to do with me.
No.
That's Sauron. He's grand. But Benjamin, so the world, the mythology of J.R. Tolkien is Morgoth is Satan, obviously.
Yes, Satan.
So he's cast out, Ben. Eventually,
Very good.
You know, he's essentially the world of J.R. Tolkien is half of Norse and Roman mythology and half Christian mythology. He merged them together.
Yes.
So Gandalf is nowhere near as Jesus-y as Aslan, obviously.
No.
Because it is not through his creation and only through his creation that people can be saved.
Yes.
See what I'm saying?
Yes, I get
so
you.
He's much less Jesus-y. He's a bit Jesus-y.
He's a bit Jesus-y.
He's considerably less Jesus-y.
Considerably less. Michael, he's not the only character, though, Gandalf.
Go on. No, there are loads of characters.
There's a couple
the world, you
there's
mean?
a couple of parallels. This is poor old long-suffering Frodo.
Go on.
I mean, his little trek up the mountain, Michael, is very similar to the 40 days and 40 nights and the carrying of the cross.
And resisting temptation.
And resisting temptation, constant temptation in the form of a little devil called Gollum.
Although, in fairness to Jesus, he sounds like a grand lad. He does manage to resist the temptation, unlike Frodo, who doesn't. He gives into the temptation at the end.
Yeah, Frodo starts the old succumbent.
And it's actually Gollum, through his greed, who accidentally wins the day, which isn't a very Christian method.
Yeah, bloody. I mean, it's not actually Judas for the win.
Judas saves the day. He's like,
Judas
I want
shoots.
all that silver.
Judas scores, which is pretty weird, actually, when you think about it. How do you feel about that, J.R.R.?
Yeah. Well, like J.R.R. was, that's what I'm saying. J.R.R. was much more subtle about it than C.S.
I don't think he let it dominate his story in the same way that C.S. Lewis seems to have. And in this case, you're actually right, Michael. J.R.R. Tolkien was a cataholic.
Very good.
So you were bang on the money there. He was a good old-fashioned dyed-in-the-wool RC.
I wasn't saying that C.S. Lewis was a Catholic. I was saying he was just addicted to cats. He was a real cataholic. His house absolutely smelled like cat piss all the time. It was unbelievable.
Mad for cats. Mad for cats.
All the piss was seeping in under the floorboards, Ben.
We do have some other Christ-like figures that commonly crop up, Michael. Jared Leto.
The actor Jared Leto.
The actor Jared Leto, who fancies himself a bit of a Christ.
Go on.
So much so that he dresses exactly like him and has his own religion these days, Michael.
Go on.
Did you know that if you're a diehard fan of one Jared Leto, you get to pay an exorbitant amount of money to become part of what is known as the Echelon?
Benjamin, I think you're thinking of Jeremy Renner's app.
No, very similar though. Very similar. Something to do with the J's. Don't name your kids with a J. Not a good idea. They go on to be weird cult leaders and charismatic money grubbers. It's a weird thing. But Jared Leto has these events out in the American desert where he'll organise all of his most loyal fans to come together and listen to him give inspirational talks.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, so Jared Leto, Jesus Christ, he's one letter off. He'll probably change it legally to Jared Keto in the future. And then he'll be good old JC. He'll wear a fat suit.
People will think he's selling a high-protein diet.
Yeah, and he probably isn't. He's probably eating whatever he wants whilst preaching a high-protein diet. But come here to me, Michael. That was a little funny aside there. But from one DC character much maligned to a DC character much loved, bloody Superman.
Benjamin, Jared Leto is not a DC character.
Yes, he is.
I think you're blending real life and fiction.
He's he's the villain in the next Suicide Squad. It's going to be bloody Idris Elba versus actor Jared Leto playing Jared Leto.
I would love if the actor Jared Leto was the villain in the next Suicide Squad film. I would be 100% on board for that.
Well, that's good because it's coming out in 2024.
Very good.
So come here to me. Superman is probably the one that people are most familiar with, Michael. But initially, in his early days,
nothing to do with Jesus.
Nothing to do with Jesus. And this is where it gets kind of interesting. So in the early days, fuck all to do with Jesus, Michael.
Just an alien, big strong alien
Just a
fella.
big strong alien fella with a strong moral compass.
And doing a big lep.
He loved a lep. Oh, what a lep.
Lepping over stuff he was.
And he was
left, right and centre.
he was a big fan, you know. But over time, Michael, especially when we brought him to screen, there seems to have been a real push towards a Christ-like comparison. Particularly in Superman 2, the Richard Donner vehicle.
Go on.
We start to get the moral dilemma of Superman.
Go on.
And Superman wants to choose between the heavy burden of being Superman and a good old-fashioned life with one bloody Lois Lane. You know?
Right, what's this got to do with Jesus?
Oh, well, Michael, let's get into it. So,
All right.
one of the things that happens is Jesus had to abstain, Michael, for most of his entire life.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Not if you
There's,
read,
there's that 15-year gap, Michael.
What book? What Dan Brown book was it that said Jesus didn't abstain? Which one was it? Was it the Da Vinci Code or the other one?
No, I think it was the Halliday Project. Oh, sorry, I thought we were just making up names for things.
No. It's a real book.
It was either the Da Vinci Code or Angels and Devils.
Angels and Demons, of course.
Angels
it
and
was,
Demons.
obviously.
Angels and...
That's the one with Paul Bettany coming to get you, isn't it?
No, I think the Da Vinci Code is the one with Paul Bettany coming to get you.
Who's coming to get you in Angels and Demons? Oh, Ewan McGregor is the young pope.
Oh, okay. Right.
He's coming to get you.
Fucking hell. Religious stuff is weird, man. But yeah, so in Superman 2 or Superman Returns,
no, they're different films.
No, sorry, Superman 2, we get the whole abstinence responsibility thing, right?
Right.
And that becomes a big kind of part of it, and you know, Superman has to make a decision between being happy and saving the world, basically.
What a Freudian faux pas.
And ultimately, he makes the big sacrifice and chooses not to sleep at Lois Lane, except that it's grand. Everything's fine. But at the end, Michael, of the Richard Donner Superman films, he leaves the planet.
Go on.
So Superman makes the big sacrifice and then realizes that he can't possibly get in the way of humanity anymore. He's done the most he can do for them, and now he's got to go.
Yes, Benjamin, I see. I think a little bit tenuous, though.
Well, that's fine, Michael. But then comes the redefining of Superman with Superman Returns, starring Brandon Routh.
Brandon Routh, noted looked-over actor on the Superman list. Brandon Routh, who was chosen because he looks more like Christopher Reeve than anything else, I think. Yeah.
And in that, Michael, it changes his origin a little bit.
Go on.
So initially, Michael, when Superman was sent to Earth, it's because his planet is dying. It's that simple.
Yeah.
And Jor-El and Lar-El, I can't remember her exact name, Jor-El and Lar-El, his parents, go, oh, I'd really prefer it if my child didn't die.
Put him in a spaceship.
Send him on. So they pulled an El Cuckoo, Michael, and they launched Superman onto another planet to keep him safe. And that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay? But in this movie, Michael, it begins the weird reimagining that Jor-El sends Superman to Earth to guide people on Earth.
I see your allegory now, Ben.
Yeah, so the film itself has the phrase, they can be great people, Kal-El. They wish to be. They only lack the light to show the way. For this reason, above all, their capacity for good, I have sent them you, my only son. Now, Michael, I have heard that speech in my childhood, having to go to bloody mass on Sundays.
You also heard it in the Irish television show Faith and Forgiveness, starring Tomo and JC.
It's a classic. It's classic. It's the opening line of my pitch.
Of your retelling of the Jesus story in Ireland. Benjamin, I hadn't picked up on that because I had been distracted by the absolute lack of subtlety of Zack Snyder's Superman.
Yeah.
Jesus Parallels.
Well, I mean, so there again grows the association with Christ because David S. Goyer, the screenwriter for this, Michael, oh God, he has a semi for Jesus at all times, apparently.
Non-stop.
Yeah, Semis for Christ, I believe, is the organisation he's a part for. And in that, Michael, we get loads of imagery that align Superman with Christ. Lots of stained glass motifs, lots of benevolent looks as humanity makes silly decisions. I have never seen Superman look so smug when generals are trying to debate what to do with him, and he's just like, "Oh, you simple humans, you have no idea."
Yes.
And
He's 33.
He's 33, very Christ-like. Michael, and most importantly, I think he kills Zod, and as we all know, that's what Jesus really resorted to in the final season of Faith and Forgiveness, which was just going around snapping people's necks.
Snaps Judas's neck, and he's like, "You saw me out, you son of a bitch, for 40 silver." Snap.
Yeah, and then he sticks a little communion wafer in your mouth as his calling card.
Benjamin.
Yeah.
Obviously, Superman really absorbed a lot of those Jesus parallels when the death and resurrection of Superman became one of the defining character traits.
It is the death of death in comics, Michael. It's one of his greatest ones. He still harps on about it sometimes when people are like, "Oh, you wouldn't understand it. You've been vulnerable." He's always like, "Well, I died." It's like, yeah, but
I died and I came back for your sins, you son
of a bitch. And he gives them a little slap and their whole face falls off because Superman can't go around slapping people.
Fly into space. Benjamin, they're very heavy on just the Christ imagery, especially in Man of Steel.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
He flies up into space, Benjamin, and he's dying in space.
It's insane.
And he just falls into a crucifix pose.
Yes.
And absorbs the light of the sun, but he might God. I'm not saying it's God's light, Ben, but
the one true light,
just some common or garden light.
The one
and
true
then
light
is reborn as humankind's redemption.
Yeah,
it's absolute insanity, Ben.
I think as well. One of the things I find fascinating there is one of the things David S. Goyer mentioned in an interview is how he felt like Jonathan Kent was a Joseph figure. Because Kevin Costner's role in that movie is negligible. So
he's like, "Watch out, there's a big tornado, don't worry, I'll sort it out."
So much so that he refuses to let his son save him, so as not to reveal. So what he does is he looks his son in the eye, and I will never forget this scene. He looks his son in the eye, holds up his hand and goes, "No, wait."
Yeah.
Now, Superman could sort this out in a pinch, right?
Yeah.
Martha Kent is watching this happen. And then Kevin Costner kind of walks a little bit into the tornado, and that's that.
Yeah, he's gone. Oh, he's gone up in the air. Benjamin, it has to teach him the value of sacrifice and redemption.
It has to teach him the value of not fucking doing that when people are in trouble. It's an awful lesson.
Awful lesson. Terrible film. Benjamin, who else is Jesus?
There's a few other ones there, Michael. One of your favourites, Optimus Prime.
Go on, I don't think so, but go on.
Particularly in the Michael Bay iterations, Michael. There's a lot of Christing going on with him there.
He's died and resurrected a few times.
He's died and resurrected a few times, Michael. The Allspark. That's a funny little name for God's light, isn't it?
Oh, very interesting.
The spark of creation. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's not as strong a parallel. I definitely don't think it's in the L cartoons, Michael.
No, in the cartoons he just dies.
He just dies a lot in the cartoons.
Well, in the first cartoon, he just died. Ben.
Oh, did he? Was that it? It was just over.
Yeah, they brought him back temporarily, but then they brought him back years later, as they always do. But the thing about, you see, I think Optimus Prime is immune from Christ comparisons.
Go on.
Because the reason they killed Optimus Prime, was to sell the Rodimus Prime toy.
Okay, what's Rodimus Prime?
That's not a Jesus parallel to me.
What's Rodimus Prime?
He was Optimus Prime's replacement.
That's Replacemus. Replacemus Prime, a classic.
Replacemus Prime.
A classic. Yeah.
They were sick of trying to sell the Optimus Prime toy, so they killed him off. There's nothing about redeeming humankind or like Aslan going, "Only through me can you enter paradise, you son of a bitch. Go in through my mouth."
That's real weird, isn't it?
If you go in through his butt, Ben, then it's paradise for him. It's not for you.
So on that note, ladies and gentlemen,
going straight up a lion's ass.
Anal stimulation and big cats. Happy Easter, ladies and gentlemen. Bye-bye. No, ladies and gentlemen, what Christ figures have we missed? What Christ figures are your favourites? And what Christ figures in pop culture do you give you the ick?
The ick.
I think one of the interesting ones that we get is, one of the inversions of it is probably Homelander in The Boys. Like a sinister Christ.
Is he a Christ though? He's not a Christ.
He's sold as Christ by Voight though. He's given a whole homespun all American feel, and part of that is his faith and his ability to save you. But he's a big bollocks, Michael.
He's a big bollocks, but I would argue he's not a Christ figure. He's a Superman figure, sure, and because of Superman's association with Christ now, you might be able to make a very tenuous link, but there's no moment of denial. There's no sacrifice and redemption. There's no only through this sacrifice of this person can the rest of us be saved. He's not. He's not really an inversion so much as he's just not a Christ figure.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough, Michael. We'll end on a low note then.
Benjamin.
Yeah.
Benjamin, I've been up on the Discord. There's a couple of things
Go on,
to say
do
from
a
the
Discord roundup.
Benjamin, we'll do a quick Discord roundup. Your good friend and mine, Benjamin, Sean Nortridge, has been in touch with the good news that cinema's coming back to Tala.
Oh, what?
Exactly, Ben. You and I have been lamenting the lack of cinema in Tala, but it's coming back.
Where is it coming back to?
The Square, Ben.
Oh,
it's going to get a
good.
new cinema.
What's it getting? A View?
It's getting the people from Movies At
What's that?
Dundrum. The people from Movies
look
at
at them
Dundrum.
branching out to a Tala.
Exactly. So there's going to be a Movies At Dundrum, Movies At Swords, and Movies at the Square.
I really find that strange. The branding is poor. But anyway.
Movies At.
Movies At.
Benjamin.
Yeah, go on.
What else? I've been reading Stormfront, Benjamin, on the recommendation of Connor.
I have finished Stormfront on the recommendation of Connor.
I tell you what, Ben, I think Connor likes it so much because the main character is basically Connor.
Yeah, I think that's probably largely it, both in physical description and magical ability.
Exactly, yeah. He's just a big, gangly, dark-haired, trench-coat-wearing man who's doing magic powers on everyone.
Yeah.
Like how Connor uses magic powers on our listeners.
Yeah, because they all love him and keep petitioning to replace me with Connor, which really hurts. If you could stop that, guys.
Yeah, the hashtag get rid of Ben.
I noticed that you are the original tweet in that particular thread, so thank you.
Yeah. I'm up on Twitter. I'm always trying to cause problems. Yeah. That's it, Ben. That's all I have.
That's all you got. Ladies and gentlemen, you too could get your name casually sort of dropped on the podcast in the Discord roundup. If you get up on that Discord and get in touch with us, there's a couple of other ways to get in touch with us as well. You can find us on the interwebs at www.seomrabeag.com, seomrabeag.com.
It means tiny room in Irish.
It does indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd love your ideas because we don't have any left. We're all out of ideas. We were supposed to do leaky spigots this week and we fucked it because it's Easter and we forgot.
It's Easter.
So we did an Easter themed episode instead, but we will be doing leaky spigots next week. But after that, we've got nothing.
Or will we?
Yeah.
I'm not saying nothing.
You can tune in to RTE this Sunday to watch Faith and Forgiveness, starring Jamie Dornan as JC and Aidan Gillen as God.
Very good.
So yeah,
okay, I'd watch that.
that's pretty good. You can also find us on Instagram at @Podcast.
Always with the latest news and info.
Bye.
All right, see you next week. It's almost never updated. That's the joke. See you later. Bye. Have a nice Easter.
Bye.
Don't get too many eggs.
Yeah, don't eat too many eggs. Watch out for dogs.
Watch out for dogs and diabetes.
Bye.
Gotta give my cats a big sniff.